The next story I wanted to talk about is about a guy named Tony Spell. Now, I've talked about this guy a few times before, but he's been up to some shenaniganery lately. He went on Alex Jones' show to talk about some real weird shit. So I wanted to catch you guys up on who this is, and then we'll talk about the newest articles about him and see what he had to say to Alex Jones. Check this out. This is from early June 2021.
Any government is not built on the shoulders of Jesus Christ. That government is headed for a fall. It is impossible to govern a nation without God in the Bible. It is impossible for our Constitution to work in a nation that is not holy and righteously consecrated unto God.
You know, it's weird to me that he's sitting here with a straight face saying countries can't exist without God, when in fact many countries are very successful without integrating religion into politics. In fact, I would venture as far as to say more successful than the United States government. Not necessarily more successful economically, but they run successfully, more cleanly than the U.S. government does. Of course, the U.S. government is a secular government, whether he likes that fact or not. It's just that a lot of dominionists and extremists have worked their way into political power, to the point now that you can't run as a Republican unless you're screaming about Jesus from the hilltops. Anyway, let's keep listening.
And righteously consecrated unto God. Our Constitution was created for a moral and a religious people. It is wholly inadequate in the government of any other.
Actually, our Constitution specifically has a section in it saying that the government will not establish any religion. One of the writers, Thomas Jefferson, went on to clarify that to say to Danbury Church, separation of church and state is sacrosanct. It cannot be violated. The church will stay out of government. Government will stay out of church business. That's just how it is. That is what Thomas Jefferson, one of the writers of the Constitution, said. This guy is just straight up contradicting the Founding Fathers, rewriting history, or attempting to.
And I know some of you, I've heard you tell me time and time again that we get uncomfortable when you talk about our government. We get afraid when you call out our government. Well, don't you worry, I hadn't got started real good as of yet. I just want you to know tonight that we have a wicked government that is ruling our world today.
You know, I find it so interesting that he seems to be like, listen to this again. Hang on, let me find the spot.
We get uncomfortable when you talk about our government.
Is anybody actually saying that? Is anybody actually saying we get uncomfortable when you talk about the government or politics or whatever the hell else? Seriously, is anybody in this guy's church really saying they're uncomfortable with him talking about the government? I really doubt it. In case you didn't catch on, this is a deeply evangelical church. Hard right extremists. It should be obvious by the fact that this guy went on Alex Jones's show, which we'll be talking about in a minute. I think this is just another point of persecution. I think this is just him countering any arguments from the outside before they even come in. Churches shouldn't be talking about politics. You know, Thomas Jefferson said there should be a separation between church and state. And that's what we've always followed for like 250-something years now. I think he's trying to counter those arguments before they come in. I really doubt anyone in his church is bringing this up. But I keep hearing this, not just from this dude, from like Jeff Jansen and Johnny Enlow. I guess I can see people say, talk more about Jesus rather than Trump specifically. Greg Locke has been complaining about this too, weirdly, that people are bitching him out for, you know, supporting Trump or talking about the government. But I don't think it's that common. I think they're picking out like one person out of a crowd of like tens of thousands, if even one mentions it. I think they're just priming the audience to shut this argument down before it comes up. There's another clip here. This is from AP. This came out mid-2020, and if I remember correctly, this pastor was holding church services through the pandemic despite court orders not to, and there were protesters out there, specifically one protester who we'll hear from in a minute. Tony Spell actually assaulted the guy and got arrested for it and put on home confinement. Check this out.
He just pulled as far over under the shoulder as he could without hitting me. He was maybe 6 inches away. So, and that happened nearly instantaneously. It was just suddenly there's a guy driving 45 miles an hour a few inches from you. I was just shocked and then more shocked.
That's pretty fucking scary. Dude came at him with a truck, like a pickup truck, was trying to run him down or at least intimidate him, at the very least. And that wasn't the only event either. Shortly after that, Tony Spell actually came at the guy with a church bus. I don't know if you guys have ever driven a bus before, but you basically can't see what's behind you. You have no depth perception because the mirrors don't translate depth perception at all. All you can see is an object and your best guess. That's why really when you're backing up, you need somebody behind you telling you, come on, or telling you to stop or whatever. You shouldn't be backing a bus up unless someone's back there or you know exactly how much space you have, you've measured it out, and you have a line on the road telling you where it's okay to stop, that kind of thing. So check this out. This is the next attack that Tony Spell did on this protester.
At first, I just assumed he was actually trying to turn around his bus. He kept hammering his horn the whole time until he turned around in his driveway. Then he stopped and started backing up at me. By the time it was actually close enough to hit me...
Look at how fast this bus is going. Seriously, it's going pretty fucking fast. And he can't see what's behind him. He can't see. All he knew was there was a protester there because he had just turned around and lined the bus up to run this guy over. He knew there was a person there, and he threw it in reverse and hit the gas.
Close enough to hit me, I was just kind of in shock.
I'm assuming that better judgment got the best of him before he actually hit it, and he decided to hit the brakes because he knew he'd go to jail for manslaughter if he hit him. I don't know. I don't know why he decided to stop there. He could not have known how close he was. He could have hit him at any moment, and he would have no way to know.
I don't think the pastor could see me anymore, so I don't think it was necessarily intent to not hit me as much as it might have been luck. When the bus stops is about the time I fully realize what's going on.
So this guy, needless to say, has gotten himself in a lot of trouble legally. Like I said, he was on house arrest. He was full-blown arrested for some of this shit. Check this out. This is Tony Spell actually getting arrested. It's kind of long, so let me speed it up a little bit. He's walking over. He's got his Bible. The police are walking over to him, and he's kind of running away. Remember, this is double speed, so... But, yeah, they grabbed him. They're handcuffing him. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I can't hear it. So, yeah. Guy got arrested. I believe... Don't quote me on this, because I don't remember which arrest this is for, but I think that this was over being assaulted. I'm sorry, I think this is over him assaulting that protester by driving the truck into him and then driving the bus into him, or attempting to. Anyways, that was Tony Spell being arrested. That was his arrest video. I thought that was absolutely fascinating. So he has obviously gotten himself into a lot of trouble in the past, and he decided to go on Alex Jones's show recently. So I wanted to give this clip a watch of him going on Alex Jones's show, see what he had to say for himself. This came out late September 2021. Check this out.
A suggestion, not even a recommendation, but from God to resist and never comply. Daniel 11:32 says, and such as do wickedly shall the Antichrist corrupt by flatteries. That word flatteries means feminism. It means demasculinization.
Demasculinization. Interesting. I haven't heard that word before. Obviously, he's talking about, complying with COVID lockdowns and vaccine mandates and things like that. Right in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, hundreds of thousands of people dead, and this guy is losing his shit because he has to hold his services on Zoom instead of in person. You can't pull it together to help the human race and save millions of lives just like for a year. You can't do shit for a year? Please hold it together for at least a year. I mean, I sat my happy ass in my house for like 2 years straight now. I've done my best to only go outside when I absolutely needed to. I stopped eating out at restaurants. I stopped going out and hanging out at the park or chilling with the boys or any of that shit. I only went out when I needed to. Going to my office, going to the post office to drop off packages, getting gas at a gas station, wearing a fucking mask. And this guy is reversing any good that I might be doing by holding his megachurch services of thousands of people. He started complaining about this a month or two after the pandemic really started. He couldn't even hold it together for a week. He couldn't hold it together for even a week.
Masculinization of mankind.
And now he's complaining about feminism. What do you even say to this? What do you even say?
Demasculinization of mankind. That's what the mask does. That's what the vaccine does. That's what complying with these inhumane, ungodly orders does.
What is ungodly about staying inside to save people's lives? Honestly, what is ungodly about it? Please, if you're going to tell me something is ungodly, and you're telling me that as a pastor, give me the verses. You know, the Catholic Church used to ban people from owning Bibles because they didn't want people to come up with their own interpretations. And that eventually, obviously, led to the Reformation and, Martin Luther and all of that other stuff. Nailing stuff to a wall, blah, 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 led to Protestantism and a splinter of Christianity into a billion different denominations. If you're going to tell me that something is ungodly as a pastor, and then not give me the verses where God says it is ungodly to wear a mask, it is ungodly to lock down or quarantine, it is ungodly to get vaccinated. If you're going to tell me these things and not give me verses for it, I'm going to say you're a false prophet. I'm going to say you're no better than the Catholic Church, which I know eats him up inside. Most people seem to hate Catholics for some reason. I don't get it.
But you're saying Satan conquers us by domesticating us and making us weak.
He does. That's why Pharaoh said murder all the baby boys in Exodus 2. That's why Herod wanted to kill every baby boy 2 years and younger to kill Jesus. Yesterday, an attorney in our church is representing a 9-month-old black baby boy who is being adopted by 2 married black women. And whenever she called it an abomination, the judge stopped the proceedings and put her out of the courtroom. This woman was simply protecting a 9-month-old helpless baby boy that is already an endangered species.
An endangered species. He's talking about black people like they are a different species. That should give you some insight into who this guy is and what he believes and how he views the world. That's fucking disturbing. And by the way, don't trust anything he's putting out there. Like saying the judge put him out for saying it's an abomination or whatever. Look it up yourself. Don't believe him by default. He is known to lie about these things. I mean, intentionally deceive people into believing something that is not true. So, don't take him at face value.
That is already being...
Well, statistically, those couples then do the transgender deal. It's like a ritual. I don't know, those group, and they go after their testicles. I mean, it's like a religion to target boys with this whole transgenderism. They admit it's a transhumanist move.
What? I'm sorry, dude. This is getting stranger and stranger. Seriously, these people absolutely need something to be persecuted about. They need to believe that they are under attack, that the human species is under attack, and you should care because you're a human too, because you're a white man too. None of this makes any sense.
For their testicles. I mean, it's like a religion to target boys with this whole transgenderism. They admit it's a transhumanist move.
They always have to turn something they don't like into a religion, don't they? It's a short hop from religion to cult, and they know that. People usually demonize groups that they don't like as cults. I think that right now what they're doing is prepping the audience for the short leap from religion to cult. The leap from people are trans and that's just a fact of life. This happens, so we should treat them like fellow human beings. He takes that and he jumps to it's a religion. And now the leap that he has to make from religion to cult is relatively small in people's minds. And if he can demonize it as a religion, then you can be a heretic if you treat trans people like the people that they are. You can be a heretic to the church. You can be ungodly. You can be born of Satan. Notice the use of the word ritual, too. Alex Jones specifically believes everything is a satanic death cult. He believes satanic ritual, blah, blah, blah. I could be wrong, but I believe he buys into the whole Hillary is a member of the satanic church or whatever the hell else, too, just like Greg Locke was saying recently.
Which, by the way, exactly right. Which, by the way, the vaccine takes away people's ability because of Bill Gates' agenda that is in Daniel 7:25.
Wait, Bill Gates' agenda is in Daniel 25? What's all this?
Bill Gates' agenda that is in Daniel 7:25, it takes away your ability to resist. It takes away your desire to be zealous and fanatical.
Oh, no. I know what he's talking about.
Look at people that are vaccinated. They're like zombies. They're just wandering around with no goals.
Oh, I know what he's talking about right now. There's this video floating around on the internet that is basically, it's claimed that it's Bill Gates showing this slideshow to the CIA of a vaccine that would erase religious belief. And it's from like 2001 or something. It's not true. It was completely fabricated. There is no evidence that it's real at all. It was released like years and years ago, like 10 years ago or something, and people have claimed that it was different things over the years. First, it was Bill Gates showing a vaccine that would erase religious belief to the FBI. And then it was some other guy showing it to the CIA, and so on and so forth. Nobody has any idea who released it at first or where it came from, and it can't be verified or backed up in any way, shape, or form. The research, quote unquote, that they were showing isn't even real. There was never any research on any kind of vaccine to erase religious belief. What would that even look like? What would that entail? How'd they even do that? It's just nonsense. It's propaganda used by the right to fearmonger, to spread this persecution complex. Once again, that is like their MO. They have to make people scared. Anyways, hang on, there's one more thing I want to listen to.
The way the vaccine takes away people's ability because of Bill Gates' agenda that is in Daniel 7:25.
Yeah, let's look up Daniel 7:25. We're running out of time, but I just want to look it up real fast just to see. Got me curious now. Let's see here. Ugh, King James Version fucking sucks. Daniel 7:25 says, "He will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times, and half a time." I'm really not sure why this is relevant to Bill Gates, at all. But this is very relevant to Jehovah's Witnesses. This is like the foundation of their belief about when the end is going to come in the year 1914 and the fact that Jesus already came back and all of that other stuff. It's extremely relevant to that. But I'm honestly at a loss for words here. I really don't know what this has to do with Bill Gates. But the court will sit and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Yeah, maybe it just doesn't have anything to do with Bill Gates at all. And this guy just spouts off random Bible verses to sound a little bit more credible to his congregants or to his listeners. In my opinion, this guy is no better than Alex Jones, except Alex Jones has a bigger platform, so that's pretty fucking concerning.